Hey, quick question before we start. Have you ever said something to a woman that made her eyes light up instantly? That moment when you can literally see her interest in you spike through the roof. I'm about to share something that changed my dating life completely. Last year, I was at a bar talking to this gorgeous woman who was clearly bored out of her mind. I was bombing hard. You know that feeling, right? Then I said one thing, just one simple phrase, and everything changed. Her body language shifted. She moved closer. She stayed for 3 more hours. What did I say? Stick around, because that's exactly what I'm sharing today. The truth is, younger women respond to certain things men say, not cheesy pickup lines, but authentic phrases that create real connection. And the crazy part, most women would never openly admit these things matter to them. Today, I'm breaking down the 6 things younger women love to hear from men that they'd never actually tell you about. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding what creates genuine attraction and meaningful connection. Let's get into it. 1. I noticed that about you. One of the most powerful things you can say to a younger woman is simply that you've been paying attention to who she really is. Not just her looks, but the details that make her unique. Think about it from her perspective. In a world of shallow compliments and guys who are clearly just trying to get something from her, being truly seen feels rare and valuable. Here's what I mean. Instead of saying, "You're beautiful," which she's heard 1,000 times, try, "I noticed how you light up when you talk about your photography. It's like you become a different person." Or, "I noticed you always check if everyone at the table has water before you start eating. That's really thoughtful." These aren't just compliments, they're acknowledgements of something deeper. You're saying, "I see the real you. I'm paying attention to what makes you different from everyone else." I tried this with a woman I was interested in who always twisted her hair when she was thinking. During a conversation, I casually mentioned, "I've noticed you always twist your hair when you're working through a complex thought." Her reaction? Complete surprise followed by the biggest smile. "No one's ever noticed that before," she said. "That's the key. You're noticing something that others don't. Why does this work so well? Because younger women are often figuring out their identity. When you notice specific details about them, especially details tied to their values, passions, or quirks, you're validating that their unique qualities matter and are worth paying attention to. But here's the important part. This only works if it's genuine. Don't make something up. Actually pay attention to her. Notice the real patterns. Comment on things that truly stand out to you. False observations feel worse than no observations at all. So next time you're with a woman you're interested in, try saying, "I noticed that about you," and watch how quickly it deepens your connection. 2. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it that way. Here's something that might surprise you. Younger women love intellectual validation. They love knowing their thoughts and perspectives are taken seriously. Many younger women have had experiences where their ideas are dismissed or not taken seriously, especially by older men. So when you genuinely acknowledge the value of their thinking, it's incredibly refreshing. I remember talking with this woman about a book we'd both read. She shared an interpretation I hadn't considered. My immediate reaction was to defend my view, but instead I paused and said, "That's actually a really good point. I hadn't thought about it that way before." The change in her demeanor was instant. She opened up more, shared deeper thoughts, and our conversation went to a whole new level. This isn't about fake agreement. It's about being secure enough to recognize when someone else has a valid perspective, especially when that perspective comes from someone younger. Try phrases like, "That's an interesting way to look at it. Tell me more. I never considered that angle before." You just made me rethink my position on that. When you validate a woman's thinking, you're treating her as an intellectual equal. You're showing that you value her mind, not just her appearance. And that kind of respect is surprisingly rare. The beauty of this approach is that it works in almost any context, whether you're discussing politics, movies, work strategies, or life philosophies. It shows you're not threatened by her intelligence and that you're open to learning from her perspective. Next time you're having a conversation with a younger woman and she shares a viewpoint, resist the urge to immediately counter it. Instead, look for the value in what she's saying and acknowledge it. You'll be amazed at how quickly it strengthens your connection. 3. I respect the way you handled that. Everyone loves being respected, but for younger women, hearing that you specifically respect their actions or decisions hits differently. Why? Because younger women often feel they have to constantly prove themselves. They're frequently underestimated or not taken seriously because of their age or gender. So when you explicitly express respect for how they navigate challenges, it validates their capability in a powerful way. I saw this firsthand when I was out with a woman who calmly but firmly shut down a pushy salesperson. Afterward, I simply said, "I really respect how you handled that situation. You were assertive without being rude." Her response was telling, "Thanks for noticing." Most guys would have either jumped in to rescue me or not said anything at all. What makes this phrase so effective is that it acknowledges her as a capable, competent person. You're not praising her for fitting some stereotype or for pleasing you. You're recognizing her effectiveness, her skill, her judgment. This works particularly well when you notice her. Setting boundaries with difficult people. Handling a stressful situation with grace. Making a tough decision. Standing up for herself or others, navigating a complex social dynamic. Try saying things like, "I respect how you stood your ground there. The way you resolved that problem was impressive. I admire how you prioritize your goals despite the pressure." The key difference between this and regular compliments is that you're acknowledging her actions and choices, not just her natural qualities. You're recognizing the person she's choosing to be, not just what she was born with. And here's the thing. While a woman might never say, "I wish men would respect my decisions more," that recognition fulfills a deep need for validation of her capability and judgment. Next time you notice a younger woman handling something well, tell her you respect it. Watch how powerfully it affects your connection. 4. I'm really enjoying our conversation. In today's world of short attention spans and constant distractions, giving someone your full, undivided attention has become rare and valuable. When you explicitly acknowledge the quality of your interaction, you're highlighting something that's increasingly precious. Young women today are used to half-present conversations, guys checking their phones, looking around the room for better options, or just waiting for their turn to speak, rather than truly listening. That's why explicitly saying, "I'm really enjoying our conversation," or "I love talking with you," can be so powerful. It communicates, "I'm fully here. This moment matters to me. You matter to me." I was out with friends when I met this woman named Sarah. We started talking and the conversation just flowed naturally. After about 30 minutes, I simply said, "I have to tell you, I'm really enjoying talking with you. This is the best conversation I've had in weeks." Her whole demeanor changed. She smiled, moved closer, and our conversation deepened instantly. Later, she told me, "When you said that, I knew you were actually listening to me, not just going through the motions." What makes this phrase work is its honesty and presence. You're not complimenting her appearance or trying to impress her. You're simply acknowledging the quality of the connection you're sharing right now. This works especially well because it's about the experience you're creating together, not just about her. It shows you value substance over superficial interaction. It acknowledges the present moment instead of pushing toward some future goal. The timing matters too. Don't say this in the first 5 minutes. Say it when you genuinely feel it, when you realize you've been talking for longer than expected and it's been effortless and engaging. You can try variations like, "I didn't expect our conversation to be this interesting." "Time flies when we talk. I really appreciate how easy it is to talk with you." This simple acknowledgement creates a feedback loop of positive engagement. When you explicitly value the conversation, it tends to get even better. 5. I admire your ambition. If you want to connect with a younger woman on a deeper level, try acknowledging her dreams and ambitions, not in a generic way, but specifically, showing that you understand what drives her and that you genuinely value her aspirations. Here's why this works so well. Many younger women have big dreams, but have faced skepticism or condescension about their goals. They've been told they're being unrealistic, or that they should focus on more traditional paths. When you explicitly admire their ambition, you're positioning yourself as an ally in their journey, not an obstacle. I remember talking to this woman who was starting her own business while working full-time. After she shared her vision, I simply said, "I really admire your ambition. Building something of your own while handling a day job takes serious dedication." Her response was telling. "Most guys get intimidated when I talk about my business plans. They either change the subject or start giving me unsolicited advice." The key difference here is that I wasn't trying to fix anything or compete with her. I was simply acknowledging her drive as something positive and impressive. This works especially well with younger women who are building careers or businesses, have creative pursuits or side projects, are studying challenging subjects, have unconventional life goals, are balancing multiple priorities. Try phrases like, "The way you're pursuing your goals is impressive. I admire how clear you are about what you want. Your passion for your work is actually inspiring." The magic happens because you're not just complimenting her, you're aligning yourself with her vision for her own life. You're saying, "I see where you're trying to go, and I think it's awesome." One important note. This only works if you genuinely mean it. If you secretly feel threatened by her ambition or success, she'll sense that disconnect immediately. When you sincerely admire a woman's drive and tell her so, you're positioning yourself as someone who will support her growth rather than compete with it. And that's incredibly attractive to younger women who are determined to make their mark on the world. 6. You made me think differently about want to create an instant connection. Tell a younger woman that she's influenced your thinking in some way. This is perhaps the most powerful phrase on this list because it accomplishes something rare. It acknowledges her intellectual and emotional impact on you. Most interaction patterns position men as the influencers and women, especially younger women, as the influenced. When you flip this dynamic by acknowledging how she's shaped your perspective, you're creating a more equal and authentic connection. I was talking with this woman about how she approaches friendships. She mentioned that she regularly schedules one-on-one time with friends instead of always hanging out in groups. A week later, I told her, "That conversation changed how I think about my friendships. I've started investing more in individual connections because of what you said." Her reaction: "That might be the best compliment I've ever received." This works so well because you're not just acknowledging her ideas, you're showing that those ideas have taken root in you. You've carried her influence beyond your conversation. You've allowed her to matter. This can work with big or small things. You've changed how I think about modern art. Your approach to handling conflict with your roommate made me rethink how I deal with tension. What you said about sustainability has actually changed some of my habits. The key is specificity. Don't just say, "You've given me a lot to think about." Say precisely what shifted in your thinking because of her. This phrase creates several powerful effects. It establishes intellectual and emotional respect. It creates a sense of meaningful connection between you. It shows you're secure enough to be influenced, not just trying to influence. It demonstrates that you've been reflecting on your conversations with her. For younger women who often feel their perspectives are dismissed or overlooked, knowing they've had a real impact on how someone else sees the world is incredibly validating. Next time a woman shares something insightful, don't just acknowledge it in the moment. Follow up later and tell her specifically how she influenced your thinking. It creates a connection few other approaches can match. So there you have it, 6 things younger women love to hear that they'd never actually tell you about. To recap, I noticed that about you. Showing you see the details that make her unique. That's a really good point. Validating her thinking and perspective. I respect how you handled that. Acknowledging her capability and judgment. I'm really enjoying our conversation, valuing the present connection. I admire your ambition, supporting her goals and vision. You made me think differently about acknowledging her influence on you. Here's what these phrases have in common. They all recognize her as a complete person with valuable thoughts, admirable qualities, and the power to impact others. They create connection beyond the surface level. Remember, these aren't magic words or manipulation tactics. They only work when they're genuine. The real secret is paying attention, being present, and actually valuing what she brings to the table. Oh, and that phrase I mentioned at the beginning, the one that completely turned around that conversation at the bar? It was simple. You've got a really interesting perspective on that. It's making me rethink my own view. Her reaction showed me just how rarely anyone had acknowledged the value of her thinking. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button and share your experiences in the comments. Have you used any of these phrases? How did they work for you? I'd love to hear your stories. And remember, the most attractive thing isn't what you look like or what you own. It's your ability to truly see someone else and let them know they matter. I'll see you in the next video.